Good morning. This is PIN227 section 2. Today, July the 7th, 2020. And good morning to everyone. When you watch this video, we're gonna be focusing on the S ending for third person singular. Last sessions on June the 30th and on July the 6th, last session, we were focusing on ED ending. We worked with PDF exercises and also with speaking exercises that were suggestions for you, right? And the idea, more than suggestions, that they are recommended for you to improve the speaking skill. So I would like to show you, right? First, a PDF file. I'm going to share with you that contains the basics for the pronunciation of third person singular. Okay, so as you can see here, let me see if I can show you this. Okay. Alrighty, so there are basically two rules, or big rules. One of them is that you can add an extra syllable, or you can keep the same syllable and just go from voiceless to voiced. When I mean you can add an extra syllable, I mean rule number one, right? If a word ends in a sibilant, in a sound like s, z, sh, ch, j, 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 the final s is pronounced is. For example, think about the word watch. Watch ends in ch, ch. So when you're talking about a third person, you can say my mother watches, right? TV programs at night. My best friend washes his laundry at home. Okay, so all of these sibilant sounds like s, sh, ch, j, j, have an extra syllable added that ends in is. For some speakers, right, this is may turn into a schwa and a voiced z. So instead of having watches, you get watches, right? That's sort of the first main rule, adding an extra syllable. And the other rule is go from s to z, to z. To sum it up, now here in this PDF file, we are presented three rules, and I guess this sort of simplifies the concept even more. When a word in rule number 2, when a word ends with another voiceless consonant sound such as p, t, k, f, or th, the final s is pronounced as the voiceless s. Okay? Think about the word or verb stop. Stop ends in p. So whenever you say or use this verb in third person, it's stops. Stops. Think about the word or verb talk. Talk. He talks too much. Think about the word or verb laugh. Laugh. Third person, laughs. Okay, laughs. So we're thinking about voiceless whenever we're thinking about or using the third person singular in present tense. And the last one here presenting this PDF file is if a word ends with any other voiced consonant sound, such as b, d, g, v, d, u, m, n, or n, or a vowel sound, because all vowel sounds are voiced, as you already know. The final is pronounced z, z. Okay, z. Think about the verb call. Call ends in ul, right? A very dark ul. So when you use third person singular, it's basically calls, calls, calls. All right. So let's take a look at some examples here. The word rich becomes riches. The verb watch becomes watches. The verb remember becomes remembers. The word rise becomes rises. The word try becomes tries. The word wish becomes wishes. The verb hope becomes hopes. The verb fix becomes fixes. The verb kiss becomes kisses. The verb expect becomes expects. Drive becomes drives. Work becomes works. So that's the idea. In this example on the left column, we know we have to add an extra syllable here. Riches, watches, rises. I wouldn't say tries, just think about this one. Witches, we add an extra syllable. Fixes, kisses. When we have to think about a voiced z, right? We think about here, remembers, right? I would say tries. I would say drives. And when we're just using a voiceless, we think about hopes ending in p, right? And works, okay? Now, in this exercise, we have stop becomes stops, ram becomes rams, blur becomes blurs, receive becomes receives, measure becomes measures, talk becomes talks, call becomes calls, learned becomes learns, bang becomes bangs, rob becomes robs, hang becomes hangs. Okay, basically the voiceless endings, or the voiceless consonant sounds such as p in stops, k in talk, get voiceless s. All of the other consonant sounds which are voiced, such as in calls, is in learns, g in in bangs, b in robs, etc., right? V in receives, right? In measures, in blurs, in ram. Get a voiced z. So basically, you need to pay close attention to the final consonant sound in the verb to know whether you have to add a voiceless s, a voiced z, or an extra syllable as in z. I would say, like in this one, George, George's, right? George, ends in sibilant, and then we need to add an extra syllable. This is wrong. Okay, it should be George's. Okay. I'm not particularly a fan of this exercise, but it contains several exercises. It contains several songs. Take a moment, pause the video, and practice these sentences on your own, please. I'm going to mute myself. Sorry, I'm going to mute my microphone. All right. All right, I would like to go over these sentences with you. So if you could repeat along, please. Samuel doesn't like to go to school because... Exactly. Repeat after, please. Samuel doesn't like to go to school because his mother keeps him at home to give him kisses. He watches naked women on television late at night. His girlfriend always calls him to wash the dishes. He drinks too many bottles of whiskey before sleeping. He misses the bus every morning. He goes to too many house parties and never knows where he will wake up in the morning. So we have several words that contain a voiced z, such as doesn't, because, right, his, his again here, always, calls, bottles, goes, knows. Okay, and we have voiceless s in a verse like keeps, right? Keeps. Help me out with this one. Drinks, bus, right? And we need to add an extra syllable here in the verbs kisses, watches, dishes, and misses, right? This one does not have a voiced sound, buzz, right? Buzz, because if we add an extra voiced z, buzz, we get another word, right? We get a different word. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a website. Okay, let me find. I mean, I haven't opened here. Just allow me to. Okay, now it's okay. I think it's ready to be shared. Audio. Okay. Okie dokie. So there are a couple of that I'm going to share with you, but we're going to start with this one, okay? I'm going to play the recording. We are going to follow the script, okay? And then I'm going to give some instructions about what to do with this particular dialogue that then you can apply later to others that you can find on your own. Here we go. Listen, please, and follow the script.
In your family, who gets up early? Okay, Katie, let's talk about your family.
Sure.
In your family, who gets up early?
My mom gets up early every day.
What time does she get up?
My mom gets up at 4 o'clock in the
What?
morning, yes.
That's crazy.
But she also goes to bed very early.
What
So
time?
she goes to bed at 7 o'clock.
Wow, at 7?
At 7 o'clock every day.
Is everyone quiet in the family?
Oh no. No.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so who stays up late?
Probably me and my brother. We always stay up late.
Yeah, how late?
Well, when we were younger, we stayed up until 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Which, when you're a 5 or 6-year-old, that's very late.
That is very late. Wow. What about TV? Who watches a lot of TV?
My dad. My dad watches a lot of TV.
Oh, yeah? What does he watch?
He watches sports TV programs. He watches comedy programs. He watches everything.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like my dad. Now, my dad falls asleep in front of the TV a lot.
Mine too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, who cleans the house?
Sometimes me and my brother will help clean the house,
Uh-huh.
but mostly it's my mom.
Oh, right. Same. I think it's the same in everybody's house.
I think so
I
too.
know, poor mom.
Yeah.
Well, similarly, who cooks for the family? I bet it's your mom.
Nope, actually, it's my dad.
Really? Oh, great.
My dad is a chef,
Ooh, nice.
so he's very good at cooking meals.
What does he cook?
Lots of stuff. Lots of British food.
Uh-huh.
So a roast beef or fish and chips. Lots of British food.
I lived in England for 1 year,
Mhm.
and I love Sunday roast.
Oh, me too.
It's so good.
I wish it was Sunday roast every day.
I know. Okay, in your family, who does the shopping?
Who do you think does the shopping in my family?
Your mother.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't think my mother would be happy if my dad did the shopping.
Why?
My dad buys too many silly things that we don't need.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, who makes you laugh?
Definitely my dad makes me laugh.
Oh, yeah? How?
My dad makes me laugh a lot. His sense of humor is very different to mine. So when he says a joke and nobody laughs, that makes me laugh.
All right. Yeah, that's funny. So sometimes we argue with people. Who argues with you sometimes?
Not sometimes, all the time, I argue with my brother.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What do you argue about?
Everything. We're very different people.
Okay. For example?
It can be even small things like the color t-shirt that someone is wearing. We will argue about it.
Right. That sounds like my sisters. So I have two older sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I never fight with either sister. Never. But my sisters fight all the time. Yeah, they love fighting.
I love fighting my brother.
Okay, so in your family, who helps you out a lot?
I hope that we help each other out a lot. I don't think one person helps a lot of people. We all help each other.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks.
Right, so that was dialogue. It contained lots of S endings, particularly third person singular. So what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to the verbs first, okay? I want you to listen to this dialogue again on your own. I copied and pasted the link in the chat, and I want you to go through each one of the words of the verbs. For example, it says, okay, Katie, let's talk about your family. Sure, says she. Your family, who gets up early? Gets, all right? Gets up, gets up, gets up. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell me, okay, the ending for gets in gets up, right? Is it voiceless? Is it voiced? Or is it an extra syllable? Okay? Is it z or is? Okay. In this case, gets up, right? Gets. It's a voiceless s. Okay. That's the first thing I'm going to ask you to do. Go through each verb and identify the final. So identify. I'm typing this in the chat, right? Identify the s ending in each one of the verbs in the dialogue. Okay, that's the first task. Okay, now the second task is pronounce the verbs. Pronounce the verbs. Probably you have to listen to the dialogue again. You have the link in the chat, right? Then the next thing we're going to be doing is listen, pause, and repeat the dialogue. This is also an individual activity that I want you to do. Okay? And the last thing we're going to be doing together is we're going to identify the initial sound in each one of the verbs. In each of the verbs. And we're going to describe them. The initial consonant sounds. So, for example, in this first one, we have gets up. We already pronounced the verb gets up, right? Then you are expected to listen to the dialogue, pause it, and repeat the dialogue, right? So the idea is to repeat again.
Okay, Katie, let's talk about your family.
Sure.
Okay, Katie, let's talk about your family. So you try to imitate the sounds, also the intonation as a game, right?
In your family, who gets up early?
In your family, who gets up early? Okay, so take it as a game. You imitate someone. You try to imitate the sounds and also the suprasegmental features such as the intonation, the pauses, right? The emphasis that the speaker is making on some specific words. And the last activity that I want you to do is identify the initial sound of each one of the verbs. In the case of gets up, we have g, which is a plosive, velar, voiced consonant sound. Remember that we are using the concepts of place of articulation, manner of articulation, and voicing to describe consonant sounds. All right. So that's the first activity. You have to go. We're going to share the answers for each one of the dialogues that for each one of the verbs present here. Okay. So you're going to take 10 minutes, probably 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to stop recording now, and you on your own have to do this individually so we can, after this break that we usually have, can compare and share the answers, okay, and provide some feedback. So that's all for now. I'm going to record a new session or the second part of this session after the break. So I'm going to finish this first part. Goodbye, everyone.